What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here at Highland Brewery, and today is the first time in a very long time that the champion Rhyno was going to have to fight for its spot in the bag. I thought that I needed something a little bit more overstable, so I tried to put the Slammer in. I've tried Zones, I've tried Toros, I've tried basically everything you could think to stick into this slot. But now there's a new mold. Well, kind of a new mold. If you remember last year, Discraft did the Zones with the ringer top and the banger top. Banger top won out, so Discraft proceeded to then make the stock run of the Zone Banger GT. But they had plans for the Zone Ringer GT as well, because they decided to do a partnership with ThoughtSpace Athletics. And they used basically the same mold. I think it has some slight retooling because it feels a tad bit deeper, and there's a little bit of tooling on the bottom that wasn't there on the prototype discs. This is the James Proctor vessel. This is a very pretty disc. This is in their Z Swirl plastic, which is one of my favorite plastics that Discraft has ever produced. And this one has some sparkles to it. It might be difficult to see because it's dark and shaded in here. But it has the ringer top. It is a little bit more of a wider top than you'll find on the Rhyno, but it does feel very comfortable. I've thrown one other vessel before. One person had one on a course and was just asked if I could try it. Flew really good. I don't know if it will 100% kick out the Rhyno, but I know that I was looking for something slightly more stable than the Rhyno, and this feels like probably the most likely alternative. Let's go ahead and start tossing. The Rhyno's been in the bag for a very long time, and we know even if the Rhyno loses this battle and the vessel goes in, we know one Rhyno is staying in the bag because I have too much consistency putting with that one Rhyno. For throwing, though, good placement shot. I like the thumb track because then it's a little bit easier for me to power down and commit to the line without fully popping through and adding a lot of power to it. It's a little bit more of a loose grip for my approach slot. In an ace run and a park job, looks like vessel takes 0.1. I love the Rhynos, and I don't know if it will ever leave the bag, but similar to the Zone SS, I think there's a space, and I might have enough space in my bag to stick another disc in there. So Vessel is winning the battle so far, but it might just have to be both together. Here's where we can start to see a little bit more of that shimmery sparkle to it. It just makes it really pretty. As far as profile goes, it has the Zone wing, which, if you put the top of the flight plate at exactly the same point, they're basically the same depth. The Rhyno is a hair deeper, which for a slightly slower disc makes sense. Oh. But you can see the same idea of a shape is there. It is that flat blunt nose rounded off with the bevel. Just on the Rhyno, that bevel comes down a little bit more aggressively to a bead. And you're really, most of the time I'm throwing the Rhyno, I don't even think about the bead, it just comes off my hand. So we'll see how this works. We're actually gonna go backhand here, vessel with the point, about 230 feet. I love the thumb track on this slot for that ability to soft throw, but then commit with the thumb to get it on that angle. A little bit short, but that was the perfect line. Missed every single tree. A bit of a kiss, and I'm not necessarily upset about the fact that I'm seeing a little bit more turn out of that Rhyno than I am out of the vessel. The Rhyno's 2-speed versus the 4-speed, and that Rhyno being the bright orange one, the only orange one that I could get, I don't throw it very often, but it has been used very heavily because it shows up on camera the best. So it's not as stable as it used to be, but it's still pretty decent stability for this comparison. Which is why I think that the vessel is just going to overall be a more overstable disc. So I think bagging both is actually a possibility and an option for me. Vessel 1 again, 2 points. Now with the vessel being that zone rim where it has that more overstability, but it's not flat on top, it is a permanently brand new out of the box puddle top zone, making it a little bit less glidey, a little bit less straight, a little bit more dumpy, because just less glide, less airspace, the same thing you see from the Rhyno. So that's why it feels very comfortable, very confident for me. And even at a course like this at Highland, where I would typically throw something slower and I'm trying to manipulate flat to soft hyzer angles, with this vessel I can pretty much commit to a soft flex on almost every shot, is what it feels like so far. This is 190 feet, so I'm not really punching them too hard, but I am hitting them hard enough to get the distance and to get the right shot shape. We saw a flex out of that. This one's gonna have to be a little bit more hyzer. And we got it surrounded, both sides of the basket. I think because the discs are operating just differently enough, they do actually kind of count as 2 separate slots for me specifically. I love the Rhyno, and I don't know if I could play a course without having a Rhyno to use as an approach disc. But this vessel is also feeling very, very intuitive. I'm not trying very hard, and it's just hitting the lines it's supposed to be hitting, which is something that this zone never did. But the vessel is, and this is where I'm thinking that it's probably the thumb track. Maybe if you gave a Toro, a Pig, or a Rhyno top, maybe it would be worth me testing out again, because this is working out great. It is parked again for 3 points in a row. So the thumb track is definitely feeling very comfortable, very confident. On this hole, with my personal putting Rhyno, I would throw it pretty flat, maybe a touch of hyzer out here. With this Rhyno, it's gonna have to be pretty flat. Try to push it almost to the fence before it dives off. And this, I'm gonna go just a hair of anhyzer. I think it's gonna be perfect. Okay, first time where I think the Rhyno might be able to take a point here. Yeah, okay. Rhyno with point, but here we're seeing, do you see the stability difference? I threw him on almost the same angle, and the vessel kind of bit into that hyzer pretty early, while the Rhyno took longer. That comes from both the parting line height and the actual speed of the disc, the Rhyno is a true putt and approach disc, while the Zone rim, now represented by the Vessel, is a true approach disc, not the putter part. So they're both good, they're both amazing at what they do, and they're both so confident and comfortable for me to throw. I really might just stick both in the bag. Let's go play. I think we're going to play a total of 7 holes, not the 5 that we're usually playing for the battle, because these are such staples of my game. Now on this hole, I typically throw a backhand turnover, or I'll throw a pyro or resistor forehand. I have thrown Rhyno in the past, and I have had some success, but I've also had some issues. This might be the perfect in-between middleman between the Rhyno and the pyro. And especially for forehands where you can't always just throw it harder to get a different shot shape. Because if you throw it harder, it might over-torque it and turn it over. That's why I have pyro, resistor, 9-speed overstable, and 11-speed overstable, because they all do slightly different things, and I've grown to love and require all different shot shapes. Rhyno has the box right now. Let's see if we can get it close, and then we'll go with the Vessel. There is the main issue with the Rhyno. If I try to have it come out on a hyzer because I'm throwing it hard enough to get it all the way there, because it needs the hyzer to be able to stand up to push straight, it's a slower disc, so I can't throw it as soft to get it there. But if I throw it that hard, it's going to flip up. This might be really good. Because you really can come through it just a little bit more and trust that it's going to fight out. Again, very reminiscent to the shot that I get from my pyros, but because it's a slightly slower, slightly duller, slightly blunter, and no dome disc, it's going to go shorter. So it's going to give me that in-between distance in between a Rhyno throwing super hard and the pyro, which was operating as my overstable mid and also my super most overstable putt and approach disc. This might be the perfect slot. So far, it's a faster rim, so it just ends up pushing further. So on most of these holes, it's winning out. Not that I'm throwing the Rhyno bad. I know the Rhyno even better than I know this Vessel. So I'm also trying not to let that sway my considerations as far as which one actually gets the point, because the Vessel is actually throwing a touch better than the Rhyno. When I get back to the car, I'm going to check. There is a very, very, very high possibility you get to see both of these. But we'll see. This hole, 217, going to go soft backhand flex and then a soft backhand flex. Actually, no, we're going to go soft forehand flex to try to make it go pretty much straight. And then we're going to go soft backhand flex on the next hole, because we haven't really tried to make the forehand go straight yet. We've just made it hyzer. It is so intuitive. I'm not trying realistically speaking, I'm not trying. It's doing what I want it to do on the angle that feels comfortable and natural for me to throw it on. And when you find a disc that does that, you have to find space, because it's too good. Again, I'm so accurate with the Rhyno. I mean, Vessel is already at 4 points. Rhyno is at 2. We've got one more to play, so Rhyno cannot actually win this battle. but they're both so consistent. They're both so comfortable, and I'm realistically not trying to put them where they need to be. They're just doing it because this apparently is the perfect stability for me. So Vessel is going in the bag because it's won the battle and it is amazing. So here's the interesting thing. The two most recent zone drops that weren't zones, the Zone SS and now the Zone Ringer Top or the Vessel. Oh, and here's what I'm saying when they've got extra tooling down here. This is actually plastic on it. This is probably just burned in because that's a weight, but this is actually part of the mold. So I do think it's been slightly retooled. If anything, it just has this put on here, but it feels deeper. It feels very comfortable, feels very confident. It's going where I want it to go and doing the things that I want it to do. The Zone SS was also amazing. Why can't I throw the Zone? I still can't figure that part out. Why does the Zone SS work? Why does the Vessel work? But the Zone itself, the original mold, doesn't work for me. I'm not sure. It just doesn't work for me. This does. See if we can't get an ace here. We got 2 chances. I'm gonna use that thumb track and just very softly flick my thumb at it on the right angle, and it should go in the basket. Just a tiny, tiny bit too much Anheuser on that throw, but that almost flexed back before the trees. Same thing there, but that made it through the trees, so the one behind it. So Vessel's going to win the battle. Vessel's going in the bag. I'm going to check for space because I think I might have one slot that I can still stick something in the main compartment. When you find discs that do exactly what you want them to do, and this is the first time you've ever thrown them, you need to stick that disc in the bag and see how long it takes before it to beat in. Hopefully you guys enjoy content like this. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, make sure to comment all of that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with these subscriber-only giveaways. And if you want to be automatically entered into monthly giveaways, check out the memberships as well. Until next time, see you out on the course.